Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back here to this Shabbat gathering. We're having once again studying this cycle of the book of First Kings. Mm-hmm. And today we are going to study the chapter 6,
5 and 6.
And we call this portion Beyth YaHuWaH, but it's the House of YaHuWaH. Mm-hmm. And it's such a blessing, as I was texting there in the chat, to have a day of rest, a Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah.
You know, this week for us has been very tough. We have been doing a lot of work here in our house. We're going to talk about house actually. And I didn't tell you this, but I'm preparing. I wanted to release a video this week, but I didn't have the time, as you know. That is related to houses. So I'm not gonna
with all the knowledge that
all the knowledge, but the house from the word point of view, not from the
but you can make some connections.
That's exactly the point that I want to make. So interestingly, my English is a little bit my tongue today. I didn't have the chance to release the video, but today we're going to talk about house, and the most important house, the House of YaHuWaH.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. But, coming back to the point, it was a very intense week. Today we were sleeping very late.
Yeah. With a lot of hard work.
Yes, so we are working really hard.
We're getting prepared for the construction of the House of YaHuWaH. So
we are going to be builders.
Yeah,
we're going to be part of the builders of the house, because we were going to talk about this, but I do believe that a construction is coming, and we are going to be part of that construction. Being led by the king in the same way that we are going to see in the scripture in the portion today. So as always, it's such a blessing to be with you once again in a Shabbat.
With all of you, yeah.
With all of you. I was having a look in the chat. It's so beautiful to see Wendy that is coming joining us from South Africa. Shannon, we are praying for you. So you are being recovered, and as soon as possible. Heidi, I see you here as well. Camila, thank you for joining us, Camila. And thank you for the video you sent us. Yeah. I saw the email, and we began to watch the video. It's interesting to see what's going on and how everything is connected to the word of Yah. I see Mike here connected as well. Arthur and Cornelia, Scott. Who else we have here? Marcia, Tammy, Yaya, Watai,
the electrician, another electrician.
That's true. You're right. Yeah. I forgot that small detail. You're absolutely right. Corina. I saw that she's connected through the iPad, not through the computer, so it's much difficult to type. She was saying. Who else? DDK, Dave, Debbie, and Kaylee. Brigida Rojas, you see. Yeah,
we know her.
Yeah, I know her. Who else? Rica Chica. And Dennis is over there. Sister as well. Tyler. It's such a blessing to be with all of you.
Somebody is listening and maybe it's not typing, but it's here. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you are not here live and you are taking a look in this video later, it's a blessing also that somehow we're able to connect with you through this video, through these studies. As we always say, we are not teachers of the word. We are just students like everybody.
Liz.
We see Liz also. Welcome, Liz. Bienvenida.
Bienvenida.
We are the student. All of us are students of the word of Yahuwah, and now more than ever, it's so important to keep studying the word of Yahuwah, especially with everything that's going on. You know, we need to compare everything that's happening in the world through the lenses of the word of Yahuwah to understand what's going on and what's coming. So, and that's the whole intention, is not to teach, is just to share what is what we are receiving from our heart, is to grow together in the understanding of the word of Yahuwah, and most importantly is to prepare ourselves. And the spiritual preparation is the most critical and the most important one, and it needs to, the preparation needs to come from the inside out. So if we are well prepared from the inside, Yahuwah will help us from that inside preparation, to prepare us externally. There are so many stories in the history of the world that we see people that are going through difficulties, and they have learned the lessons that even though that we can be facing so complicated things externally, we're able to keep the peace internally, inside. And that's a decision. It's an internal decision, and that's why when we are empowered by the Ruach of Elohim, by the truth of the word of Yahuwah, it's when we are able to keep that shalom internally, no matter what's going on externally in the world. So that's why first focus is the internal preparation, the spiritual preparation, our connection and our relationship with Allah. So I don't know, you want to mention something before we move on?
That, well, some people maybe they feel that they're sick, maybe with some pains and things like that. And well, that happened today in the morning for me, and maybe that was also why we were so late, with that terrible headache. And I was feeling really bad, but Abba is so wonderful that he helped us somehow to recover from those pain, and letting us know that they are temporary, that all the pains that we have, maybe physically, maybe spiritually, maybe also with our emotions, are just for a moment, and it's because we are in this place that is not perfect, because we have all the opposition here. We are now learning how to deal with this, and we have to endure, even though, and he's trying to let us know through the pain, through the emotions, through the maybe some worries, maybe somebody that we have in the family that is suffering from maybe a difficult situation, imprisonment, and a lot of different things. But he's letting us know that he's going to deliver us from all those situations. Those are only temporary. That what he has planned from the beginning for us is something much bigger, more beautiful, that we're never going to remember what we have been struggling today. So you have to be hopeful, you have to be praying for his shalom, for his help. And that is the, because even Yahushua, when I was reading and I was looking that scripture and YaHuWaH in the chapter 53 and the verse 3, he said, I'm going to read it because it's just one. And it says that he was despised and rejected by men, a man of pains and knowing sicknesses, and as one from whom the face is hidden, being despised, and we did not consider him. So we can know that he suffered even physical pain. He was despised, he was having problems, and that is the way that he has to let us know, I already overcome this, and you are going to do it too, with his help and with the help of our Father, with the help of our Yahuwah, our Creator. So we have to endure. That's it.
Good word.
Yeah.
You know, this is, I think it's a very important word when we consider what's coming ahead. We need to endure, and the only way to do it is following the example of Yahushua, and remembering that he's the one giving us strength. So let's move on. You know, I have a song here to share with you, as always. We always do. So let's move on. And I see Karen join us. Thank you, Karen, and thank you for your article. We read it, and it's very interesting, actually, connecting a lot of dots. So thank you so much for sharing it with us. So let's listen to this song, and then we continue with the study. Here we go. So let's close our eyes and let's pray. YaHuWaH Elohim Sebaot, we want to give thanks to you in this moment, in this new Shabbat, because of your love, your compassion for us, for giving us once again the opportunity to gather ourselves through this platform with the intention, the desire of our heart to go into your word, to study your words, to receive your wisdom, the knowledge, in order to prepare our hearts, our house, to serve you, to walk in your ways. Thank you, Abba, because you are the one sustaining us day by day, because the only reason we live is because of you. You are the one granting us life. And we want to acknowledge in this moment and in every day, in every moment of our lives, that we belongs to you. That you are the source of everything, O YaHuWaH. Though the world doesn't want to recognize it, that you are the owner of everything. We, your people, we want to recognize that you are our owner, that we belongs to you, that you are the source of everything, that the entire world, all this creation belongs to you, YaHuWaH, that you are the master of all. And we want to give thanks in this moment, Abba, because you have opened our eyes, our ears, our understanding, our heart to receive your truth. And that's a marvelous work you have done with each one of us. No matter where we are in this earth, you have been waking us up to your truth, O YaHuWaH Sebaot. And you have been doing it through the power of your Ruach HaKodesh, that Ruach that your Son Yahushua has sent us in order to guide us in these times. He said that your Ruach will remind us of His word. And the words of Yahushua are your words, because you are Echad. And we want to be Echad with you. We invite you in this moment that your presence be among us, no matter the distance, O YaHuWaH. That your Ruach HaKodesh and your presence be among your people in these times of difficulties in the world. That we can cling to you, that we can get closer to you even more. And we can remember, that we can understand through our experience that only in you we find protection, refuge. Only in you we find truth. And only in you we have hope and expectation of a better life. Because though the world believes that the world will come to an end, we know that the truth of your word teaches that the world will be transformed. Will be transformed to the original design, where your righteousness will fill the earth. And we know we are getting closer and closer to that moment. Your people is waiting for that time. Is waiting that you send your Son Yahushua HaMashiach to take authority over the world, because you have put all the authority in His hands. And we want in these times to prepare the way for His soon return. We give our hearts to you, Abba. We want to serve you. And we want to shine your light in the midst of darkness. Give us the opportunity to serve you, Abba, sharing your truth with those that are hungry and thirsty of you. And maybe they don't even realize that they need you. Give us the opportunity to serve you in that way, to rescue the souls that are in need of you, in the same way that you have rescued us and you have shown us your way. Guide us in this study, O YaHuWaH, that we don't want to speak by ourselves, Abba. We just want to be instruments, all of us, that you can speak through us with your Ruach of truth. Teach us everything you want to teach us today. I pray for those in going through sickness that you can bring restoration. Those are going through difficulties that you can give them a way out of the trials, tribulations. Those are in war or being persecuted, that you can protect them with your power. We love you with all our hearts, and we thank you for everything you do for us. We lift up our voices, Abba, as an ascending offering. Please receive it, because we do it with all our heart to you, and we do it in the mighty name of your Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
So,
I
think.
felt good praying.
Mm.
It was a beautiful moment.
Mm.
Okay, let's move on. Let's go to the book of First King, chapter 5.
Melachim in Hebrew?
It's Melachim Aleph, chapter 5. And I'm gonna give you the opportunity to read the first chapter
Okay.
because it's shorter,
Okay.
and I will read the last one.
Thank.
It's okay? Okay.
Okay.
So you can begin.
In Hiram, sovereign of Sor, Hiram means noble, and Sor, rock,
Okay.
sent his servant to Shlomo, because he heard that they had anointed him sovereign in place of his father, for Hiram had always loved David. And Shlomo sent to Hiram, saying, You know my father David was unable to build a house for the name of YaHuWaH, his Elohim, because of the battles which were all around him, until YaHuWaH put them under the soles of his feet. But now YaHuWaH, my Elohim, has given me rest all around. There is neither adversary nor evil incident. And see, I intend to build a house for the name of YaHuWaH, my Elohim, as YaHuWaH spoke to my father David, saying, Your son, whom I set on your throne in your place, he does build a house for my name.
Maybe we can put a comment here in the first few verses. You want to start first? What is in your mind, in your heart?
That I like the way that he was saying, my father David, he was unable to build a house for the name of YaHuWaH, his Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
And he's also saying, my Elohim. So he's like taking ownership of that relationship. Mm-hmm. In some other cases, like in the previous, I remember all the instances when Jacob was always saying, your Elohim, until there is always a moment when you have this feeling that you know him, that he is your Elohim, that you belongs to him. So seeing that in the writings, I found it very beautiful, because it's not something that he inherit. He has lived the experience.
I think, you know, what just popped up to me when I read this is exactly, somehow we have been talking about this previously, is that when we serve YaHuWaH, each one of us has different purposes, different type of services. And sometimes, even though that we have in our hearts the desire to do something, not necessarily is what we are going to do, not necessarily is the way we will serve YaHuWaH, because he has a different plan for us. So it doesn't mean that we should not have the desire of our hearts. It doesn't mean that we should not have ideas of how to serve YaHuWaH. what it means is that we need to have all of that, but we need to be totally open to the guidance that is coming from above through the Ruach. And
maybe he's going to surprise us.
Exactly. A perfect example is exactly what we're doing here. David was a man after the heart of YaHuWaH. It was YaHuWaH the one telling Samuel, to go and anoint David as the second king. And so David was a servant chosen by YaHuWaH himself. And it was in the heart of it was in the heart of David to build the house. We were reading this part of the story when we were studying the book of Samuel. And David had peace. After all the battles, all the wars, in one moment he had peace. And in that moment of peace, when he has in his heart the desire to build a house. He already had a house. And he saw the Ark of the Covenant in a tent. And he has the desire to build a house. And YaHuWaH answered, and he gave the amazing promise. And actually it's repeated here again, the promise. But it wasn't, even though that he has the desire, he wasn't the one chosen to build the house. It was his son. So YaHuWaH used David for his purposes and his service, even though that he was unable, David, to build a house to complete the desire of his heart. Was the purpose of Shlomo to build the house of YaHuWaH. So we don't know how we are going to serve YaHuWaH in these times. We don't know why he has called you, why he has called me, why he has called you for his service. This is something that we will learn in the way. It's something that is going to be revealed to us personally on how we have to serve him. Sometimes maybe we are going to be assigned a specific task, but that task is going to be for a specific period of time. This is like being in a job, you know. We are going to have a specific task for this project for this period of time, and then we will move on to a different service. That should be our attitude, to be always ready, attentive to what YaHuWaH wants, because you know he's the mastermind. He has the plan in his heart, and he wants to use our hands in order to put in practice that plan. You know, if I don't want to take the tools, I don't have a tool here, just well, it's a pencil, it's a tool somehow. If I don't want to take the tools, how he's going to use me? If I want to be stubborn because I have a desire in my heart and I want to do that desire, I'm not going to be making his desire. I'm going to be making my own desires, even though that maybe that desire is to serve him.
And maybe sometimes we feel unworthy or shy or timid. I don't know, that we cannot do something. It doesn't matter what we feel, because he's the one who is going to empower us to do what he wants us to do. And sometimes we don't even know how. Maybe a word can change some other lives. Maybe it's something very tiny, and that is going to be the things that he is requesting us on that specific moment.
And you know, the beauty of all of this is that as soon as we surrender our desires, and we're just, as Corina I think wrote, is just to be ready for the next assignment, is when he begins opening the doors for things to happen, because we are not doing our desire, we are doing his desire. So he has the plan in his heart, and he will do everything that is needed in order for that to happen. Even supernatural things. But it will require if we do the first step, if we take the first step. If we take the first step by denying ourselves, as Yahushua was teaching us. And deny ourselves means means to surrender our desires, our ideas, and just to do what he wants, what he is pushing us and inviting us to do, marvelous things will happen. And I can imagine David, when we were reading in the first portion, when he decided to, when all this story with Adoniyahu, and he saw what's going on, and he appointed Shlomo to be the next king. I can imagine the heart of David, knowing this promise that he wanted to build the house, and seeing now that Shlomo was the one appointed by YaHuWaH. And I think somehow in the next verses, we will see, in the words of another king, the king of Sor, Hiram, what was in the heart of David when he saw Shlomo, that he was Shlomo, the one that was going to finish the task. And it's coming to my heart now what Shaul was talking about. I don't remember what of the letters. I think it was Corinthians. When it was Corinthians, when the Corinthians had these battles and discussions about I belong to Shaul, I belong to Apollos, and so on. They wanted to do their own desires instead of recognizing that everything is coming from one source and one source only. Is that Elohim, YaHuWaH, Sebaot. And what Shaul was saying is that one is seeding the seed, is planting the seed. The other is watering it. Another is harvesting.
Another is adding some nutrients and things like that.
So can you imagine, and actually I think he's mentioning, just paraphrasing, he's mentioning that each one of them that participated in the activity with different assignments and tasks are going to enjoy at the end the fruit of the land. And this is exactly how creation works. Each one of us needs to do something. And that's why we cannot say, the eye cannot see the hand to the hand. Oh, I want to be a hand. Or vice versa.
This is more important than this. No.
Each one of us has a specific and a very important task in the kingdom of YaHuWaH. And now in these times that we are living, it's becoming even more important. It's becoming even more important. Because if we are not willing to do what YaHuWaH has called us to do, how we are going to prepare the way for the soon returning of Yahushua? He's going to do it anyway. But the point is that we are going to miss the opportunity to be part of it.
And in the process, we are learning, because in the process, we are being taught even more about more things. Always when you are being used, you are learning about the I don't know how Abba sees things, and sometimes are so completely different from the things that you can perceive. And that is the beautiful way that he has, is like teaching like in a hiding way, so you can understand by yourself. Okay, so this was not like I was thinking. So it is in a very lovely way that he teaches during all this process. And the only thing that I wanted to add about this is that Shlomo says, my Elohim has given me rest all around, and there is neither adversary nor evil incident. And we can see that result is also based on what David had to do before. His father was the man of battle, and he was enjoying now the peace with all the neighbors and everybody. So sometimes it's like life. We can see that maybe the life that we have, that has a lot of good things, that we have a very comfortable life, is thanks to all the sacrifices and the struggle that our parents had to do and they have to face during their life. And I think, and I remember that scripture that it says that I'm going to do that your heart go back to your parents, and your parents' heart to yours, to the sons, is something that is that point when you see all the sacrifices that your parents did in the past are the things that are allowing me to live a better life. And all parents, everybody wants to do the same for their own children. They want to do all the sacrifices so their children can have even a better situation. So that is the beautiful thing, how Abba is working and doing things.
Absolutely. You know, while you were speaking, I was taking a look in a specific this part, and it's connected to what you said. Before that, if not, I'm gonna forget. This is how nature work, how creation work, and we see different examples in the Word, and that's why, you know, we should not be afraid of what's coming. We should not be afraid of what's going on, because, you know, calm comes after the storm.
It has to be in that way.
It needs to be, you know, it's going to be disruptive. It's going to be difficult. We will go through tribulations. And, you know, as we have been seeing in the Word, in all the studies we have been doing so far, the same pattern is applicable in the small scale in our personal lives, and the same pattern is applicable in a big scale, in the as a body, as a population, as the assembly, you name it. So in my personal life, most probably I will need to go through tribulations in order to increase my faith if I make the right decisions when I'm going through that period of time. And the end result is going to be much better than the beginning. And the perfect example we have is the story of Job. His end result was much more better than the previous situation after he went through all the difficulties. The same pattern is applicable in the big scale. The world will go through tribulation. And actually there is a middle one that we can talk about. Is the assembly, is the people of YaHuWaH. We will go as an assembly, as a body, through difficulties. But the end result will be a precious one. And the entire creation will go exactly in the bigger scale, will go exactly in the same situation, through the storm. And we see when we talk about prophecy, we see exactly that's the pattern. Is storm, difficulties, wars, even death. But the end result is beautiful. The end result is basically what is needed in order to be recreated. You know, sorry, but I just came to my heart. What happened to
your finger?
To my finger. I don't know, I was working this week and I don't even remember how I smashed, I think, my finger, and I was under a severe pain. Yeah. Actually, one night I almost was unable to sleep that much because the pain on my finger. Now it is much better. So I needed to go through the pain on my finger, because you know how YaHuWaH created this body is that in order to bring healing, because something was not working properly, my finger was inflamed. Most probably more blood was going through that area, and that's why I was feeling the pain and. But in order to be recovered, and the end result is that it's going to be recreated, is going to be working again, and so on. It's exactly the same thing in everything. You know, the entire creation works as like our bodies. Sometimes in order to restore things, we need to go through pain. We need to go through tribulation. We need to go through suffering. But after we are able to endure until the end, and that's why Yahushua said, you need to endure until the end. Those that endure until the end will be saved. Those that endure until the end will be able to enjoy what's coming after the storm. But if we don't endure until the end, we're not going to have the same type of reward. So we see here what's happening. As you said, David went through different battles, suffering, a lot of suffering, because we were studying all of this. But what was the end result? Is the shalom, shalom that came to the kingdom of Yahuwah. So what I was looking at it is in the, this is a reference to Mashiach. I think this is what we find in the book of 1 Corinthians. Let's go to chapter 15, verse 25. And here, when Shaul is talking about Mashiach, he's saying the following in the chapter 15 of 1 Corinthians, and we're going to read from 23 onward. And it says, and each in his own order is talking about the resurrections. Messiah, the first fruits, then those who are in Messiah, his coming, then the end, when he delivers up the reign to Elohim the Father, when he has brought to naught all rule and all authority and power.
It's like the same.
It's the same thing. For he has to reign until he has put all enemies under his feet. And the last enemy to be brought to naught is death. And when that's going to happen is at the end of his kingdom of 1,000 years here on earth. Is at the moment of the final judgment. Is at the moment of the second resurrection. When he's going to throw to the fire death and Sheol. This is what is written in Revelation. And listen to the verse 27. For he has put all under his feet. And this is quoting what is written in Tehillim, chapter 8, verse 6. But when he says all are put under him, it is clear that he who put all under him is accepted. For sure, because, and we're going to keep it until there, Yahushua is subjected to Elohim the Father. But when we go back to the portion, this is exactly what they say. You know, my father David was unable to build a house for the name of Yahuwah, his Elohim, because of the battles which were all around him, until Yahuwah put them under the soles of his feet. It's the same pattern. And now when I looking at this, I found this beautiful two passages that is connected to the same. When it's talking about Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem is the restoration of Jerusalem in the chapter 60 of the book of Beyth YaHuWaH. It says the following in the verse 13 and 14. The stem of Lebanon shall come to you. Cypress, pine, and the box tree together to embellish the place of my set apart place. And I shall make the place of my feet steamed. And the sons of those who afflicted you come bowing to you, and all those who despise you shall bow themselves at the soles of your feet. The enemies under the sole of the feet, in this case of the woman, Jerusalem. And they shall call you City of YaHuWaH, Sion, of the set apart one of Israel. Instead of you being forsaken and hated, so that no one passes through you, I shall make you an everlasting excellence, a joy of many generations. And the second one is somehow connected to the end times.
Malachi?
Is in Malachi, is Malachi, chapter 4, verse 3. Actually, let's read from verse 1. For look, the day shall come, burning like a furnace, and all the proud and every wrongdoer shall be stubble. And the day that shall come shall burn them up, said Yahuwah Sebaot, which leaves to them neither root nor branch. But to you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall arise with healing in his wings. Interesting. And you shall go out and live for joy like calves from the stall. Why is interesting? Because I was reading about wings in preparation of my study about houses this morning. And you shall trample the wrongdoers, for they shall be ashes under the sole of your feet. On the day that I do this, said Yahuwah Sebaot. So, summing up, what we see here is the pattern of the peace after the storm. Is the pattern of the different purposes that Yahuwah has for his people. And it's a foreshadow of the amazing plan he has for us individually, but also for us collectively as a people, but also for the entire creation. Is we will go through tribulations, we will go through difficulties, but at the end we will have the reward that all enemies of Yahuwah will be under the sole of our feet. Do you remember something?
I don't remember that it says, it's a promise that it says that the son of Yahuwah, Yahushua, is going to crush the head of the serpent.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's going to put his feet over the serpent, the death. So.
Okay, so let's move on. And by the way, this is also foreshadow. We will talk about this last week. Elohim has given me rest all around. There is neither adversary nor evil incident. When that's going to happen?
In the millennium.
Exactly.
In the 1,000 years.
Exactly. He's going to be restoring all things, Yahushua, and we are going to be the builders.
Yeah.
During that time. Builders in different meaning of the word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Verse 5.
And see, I intend to build a house for the name of Yahuwah my Elohim, as Yahuwah spoke to my father David, saying, your son, whom I set on your throne in your place, he does build a house for my name. And now command that they cut down cedars for me from Lebanon. Lebanon means whiteness. So I think that it, because maybe the kind of the trees that they have there, or the something like that.
Let me put just a short parenthesis.
And they used to have a forest there.
They used to have a forest, and it's interesting because when we see the political or geopolitical scenario these days, and not only because of what's going on today in that area of the world, but for years there is hatred between Lebanon and the land of Israel, and keeping politics aside, it's totally different to what we see here.
Yeah. When peace
so what this change that Yahuwah will do in these times is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that these two pieces of land and the people inhabiting and dwelling these pieces of land.
But you know what?
Friends.
I think that maybe it's because the focus of everybody's at that time, it was Yahuwah. So that was the heart of their existence. They were living for him. Now what is happening? The focus is on themselves. And usually when you do that, your heart becomes in something selfish. So at the end, everything belongs to Yahuwah, to the Creator. We are just passing through this place. We are living from the benefits that he gave us, but nothing belongs to us. So
sorry, I just saw the comment from Karen. It's a very interesting comment, Karen. I'm gonna tell you what came to my heart when I saw your comment. It says, I often wonder if we are the generations of David, and that the house will not come until next generation.
It could be.
I think, when I see what's going on in the world today,
maybe we're in
the middle
of the struggle.
We are. I don't see a way that a new generation will come. I think we are the last generation before everything will happen. I can be totally wrong, but this is what I feel. So when I just read your comment, is that maybe in this flesh we are the kind of David, but this body will be transformed. We are going to be born again spiritually by the transformation of our bodies. So it means that we are going to become a new generation. And that new generation, when we are transformed and the people that are sleeping is going to be resurrected, we are going to become the Shlomo, the builders of the house. So maybe in this flesh now we are the type of David, preparing the ground.
But in a resurrected form, we're going to be like Shlomo.
Exactly.
That's good.
Could be.
Yeah, that everybody at the end is maybe facing the two faces.
Yeah.
Facing is leaving the two faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
And okay, from Lebanon. And let my servants be with your servants, and let me pay your wages for your servants according to whatever you say. For you know there is none among us who knows to cut timber like the Sidonians. Sidonians, I don't remember if that is exact, but I remember that it was saying that they were the hunting people. That was the origin of the word. And it came to be when Hiram heard the words of Shlomo that he rejoiced greatly and said, Blessed be YaHuWaH this day, for he has given David a wise son over this great people. David or David. And Hiram sent to Shlomo, saying, I have heard that which you sent me. So it's like answering the first letter.
Mm-hmm.
This is the answer. Let me do all your desire concerning the cedar and cypress logs. Let my servants bring them down from Lebanon to the sea, and I put them in rafts by sea to the place you direct me, and I shall spread them out there. Then you take them up, while you do my desire by giving food for my household. I don't know, I'm maybe wrong, I don't know from where I had this relation. It was those addressed to the port of Jaffa?
Yeah.
Yeah? That were where they received the logs?
Yes, it is written in other place, I think in the coming portions.
Yeah, okay.
They send it from the north to the port of Jaffa.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly the same place where Jonah took the boat to run away from YaHuWaH.
And he was swallowed by the...
So they bring in the logs to that place, and they were taking the logs and send them to Jerusalem.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a big work, actually.
Yeah.
Because going through the mountains and the hills from the place of Jaffa to Jerusalem, they need to go up.
Yeah.
So it was very intensive.
I was like making the calculation. And Hiram gave Shlomo, cedar and cypress logs, all his desire. And Shlomo gave Hiram 20,000 cors of wheat as food for his household, and 20 cors of praise oil. Thus Shlomo gave to Hiram year by year.
Sorry, just to connect to what I said before in the verse 7 is exactly what Hiram was feeling this love, and was so excited to see.
He wanted to participate.
And he wanted to participate. I can just only imagine what was in the heart of David when he saw Shlomo, that he was going to take the task and complete it. I feel that this is somehow these words of Hiram reflects that emotion on David as well. So he wanted to participate. It's like the people in the wilderness that they wanted to give, and they continue giving, continue giving in order to build the tabernacle.
Yeah.
This was YaHuWaH moving Hiram to contribute for the building of his house. And it's so interesting that a people that is not the chosen people of YaHuWaH participated in the construction. And it's exactly what happened with the Mishkan, the tabernacle. The Egyptians were the one who provided the material to the Israelites in order to build the tabernacle.
Yeah.
In this case, it's happening exactly the same.
At the end, everything works together, but for YaHuWaH's purpose. So that's the beautiful thing.
Yes, everything belongs to him. And he's moving the hearts of the people in order to contribute to his plan and his purposes. But what needed to happen first? Shlomo surrendered himself to YaHuWaH to do his will. And surrendering himself doesn't mean that he was waiting passively. He was moving on. He has a task in his hands, and he contacted Hiram.
Yeah. Yeah. So where I'm going to find the materials? Okay, I know him. Yeah.
So, and YaHuWaH was directing and orchestrating everything in order to open the doors for things to happen. But what would happen if Shlomo got the plans from David to build the house? He knew that he was the king. He knew that he needed to build the temple. And he was just waiting. YaHuWaH will bring somebody to giving me everything I need to build. And just waiting. Maybe he will continue waiting. He needed to take an active role. And the active role, most probably, I don't know, I'm just assuming, in the way we know that we are being guided, maybe the Ruach was guiding him, telling him, contact him. The best materials are in that place.
And maybe he was like inheriting this from his father, because remember that David was always asking YaHuWaH what to do. If I have to do this or I have to do that. So maybe he was learning from that, and he was also asking for direction. So I think that is not only because, okay, what I'm going to... No, I think that maybe YaHuWaH was also giving him who to contact.
Exactly, and he was moving on. He was feeling, okay, and the best materials, the best trees are over there. Let's talk to him. And YaHuWaH was opening the doors.
And year by year. Now here?
Yes, this one.
And YaHuWaH gave Shlomo wisdom, as he promised him. And there was peace between Hiram and Shlomo, and the two of them made a covenant. And sovereign Shlomo raised up compulsory labor out of all Israel, and the compulsory labor was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 per month by courses. They were 1 month in Lebanon, 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the compulsory labor. So he made those shifts, remember?
Yes.
And Adoniram means my Adon or my Lord is exalted. That is the meaning of that name. And Shlomo had 70,000 bearing burdens and 80,000 hewn stone in the mountains, beside 3,300 from the chiefs of Shlomo deputies who were over the work, those ruling over the people who labored in the work. And the sovereign commanded, and they brought large stone, precious stone, to lay the foundation of the house with hewn stones. And Shlomo builders and Hiram's builder and the men of Gebal did hew and prepare timber and stones to build the house.
So I'm gonna comment something about the study I'm preparing, and it was a kind of funny when I saw the email from Karen the other day, because she said that houses has been a topic in his in her heart lately. So when I saw that, I was thinking exactly the same. So maybe YaHuWaH is something He is bringing to our heart, and that's why also we have this portion about houses, the house of YaHuWaH. And so without disclosing that much of the study, one of the things that it's important to keep in mind, and we see it here happening, is that in order to build a house, we need material. We need
a design.
We need a design,
an idea of what you want to.
And also, it's not going to be easy. We see that they needed to put some compulsory labor.
Yeah.
They were working with materials. They were hewing stones, and just imagine the people that were working on that that construction. It's like Lilian and myself working this week,
the stones.
smashing the stone and working from sun to sun, even longer. But building a house is not a easy task. It requires different activities, difficult ones, other that are not that difficult, it required a lot of strength. It requires a lot of endurance and patience.
And maybe we are going to have found a lot of how you call when something pop up and you were not expecting that.
Surprises.
Surprises in the way.
Some bunnies.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So.
And you need to be ready in order for those small surprises and hiccup you have on the way in order to fix it.
Yeah.
And I think the whole parable, because it's a kind of a parable of building a house compared to building the house of YaHuWaH, not this one that we are reading, is just building the spiritual house of YaHuWaH. It's so important because it's bringing a lot of understanding of how we have to do it. And that it's not going to be easy time to time, but when we are able to enjoy the end results that we have been enjoying, the last result of what we have been doing, is something that is bringing so much gladness to your heart. And when you look back, when you look back, all the efforts, it's like thinking what is written in the book of Revelation, that we will have no more tears.
Yeah, it's a special contempt that you have inside. Like you accomplish something, not because of your own wisdom or something like that. You were helped, but you put all your effort, and then you are going to appreciate that even more in a completely different way. It's so different when you buy maybe a house that is already built. Maybe it's beautiful and perfect and everything, but when you see maybe the walls, when you see the everything, the doors, every nail that you have to put there, it's going to be different.
Every smashed finger.
You're going to remember. The other day you will remember when we were sleeping here the first time. We didn't even have a bed, so it was like all the progress and the end result that is in our mind. I think that is, we pray that we can accomplish that, the end result, but it's something so that give you a lot of joy. So imagine how it's going to be for our Abba. He had this plan for us, the house that he created, this earth, and we live in this earth in a safe way. But unfortunately, we miss it in some place. But he wants us to give us and help us to maybe start again. Okay, he has to remove everything. He has to burn everything because it's the only way to remove everything from the very beginning. So, and he's going to help us, be with us, taking our hands. Okay, if you don't know, I'm going to teach you. You're going to, but you have to do your part. You have to put your nail there. So it's going to be beautiful.
So before that, before we move to the next one, let me show you something. And why everything that we have been talking so far, and everything I said, you said, now is so relevant, because we are not talking about building a physical house. Yeah, we're building here a physical house. It's something that was in my heart for a while, and now we're doing it. It's not an easy task, but it's just to take the example of what it means, and it's exactly what we are reading here in this portion, connected to building the most important house. And what I'm talking about, there are two houses. I'm not talking about the House of YaHuWaH and the House of Israel. Two types of houses. And the first one is Yahushua is the one that it was bringing this understanding when it is written in the book of John chapter 2 verse 18 and 19. And it says, and the Yahudim answered and said to him, what sign do you show to us since you are doing this? This is the most important sign that Yahushua said. And he answered, and Yahushua answered and said to them, destroy this dwelling place, and in 3 days I shall raise it. Then the Yehudim said, it took 46 years to build this dwelling place. It took a lot of time to build the second one, compared to the first one, by the way. And you are going to raise it in 3 days. But he spoke about the dwelling place of his body. So This body is a house. This body is a dwelling place. So compared to everything we have been talking about this portion, how Shlomo was building the house, compared to everything that we have been talking about, our experience in building a house, everything related to the material, the difficulties, the hiccup, the efforts, and so on, connected to this body. It's exactly the same process.
What is the cornerstone that we have here? Where are the timber that we are going to put here? Where are every material that we are going to use it?
That's the first type of house. The second type of house that I'm talking. So the first type of house, when we talk spiritually, is this body. And the second one is somebody really important.
Even the food.
Talk about it. Talk about this. Is in the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2. Let's read it completely. The chapter 1 to verse 5. Having put aside then all evil and all deceit and hypocrisies and envyings and all evil words, as newborn babes, desire the unadulterated milk of the word in order that you grow by it. If indeed you have tasted that the Master is good, drawing near to him a living stone, rejected indeed by men, but chosen by Elohim and precious. You also, as living stones, are being built up, a spiritual house, a set-apart priesthood, to offer up spiritual slaughter offerings acceptable to Elohim through Yahushua Messiah. So what Peter and also Shaul, Paul, was talking about in another place is that we as an assembly, we are also a house. We are a dwelling place. This temple, this house, is the temple of the Ruach HaKodesh. We collectively are also a house, the dwelling place of Elohim.
We are a stone there.
We are different stones. So just put in perspective everything we have been talking about, the process of building, all the steps, all the difficulties, all the labors in order to build this house and build all the assembly.
We are
what we need to consider.
We are being chiseled, I think that is said, that some parts are not required are taken off. So we are getting the shape that our Father wants us to have.
As somebody told me some time ago, with this TikTok generation, everything needs to happen suddenly, one moment to the other. That's not nature. And we will read in the next chapter, it took 7.5 years to Shlomo to build the first temple. And we just read in the book of John, it took them 46 years to build the second temple. So the TikTok generation likes to things to happen from one day to the other, from one moment to the other.
And maybe they're going to buy it.
Things are not working like that. Why I'm bringing this to the discussion? When we're talking about building this house, or building the house of Elohim that is assembly, it's not going to happen from one day or the other. It's a process. It will take time. We will go through suffering. We will go through harsh times. We'll go through good times. We will go through situations that we are going to enjoy, and we are going to be so in an amazed way when we are able to solve and do something that we didn't know how to do it, but we are doing it anyways. We will go through all these processes, learning. We will understand things, and that's gonna help us. One things that we do one day and we learn one day will help us in the second day, and we will continue building and constructing and so on. So we should not expect that we are going to get to perfection from one day to the other. Not at all. We need to endure. We need to continue. We need to continue pushing forward. Even though the difficulties, understanding that what is our objective? is to finish the house. What is our objective spiritually? Is to get into the house that is coming from above. But before that, we need to build the house first.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's go to chapter 6.
Yeah.
Okay. So it says the following, and it came to be in the 480th year after the children of Israel had come out of the land of Mizraim, Egypt, in the 4th year of the reign of Shlomo over Israel, in the month of Siv, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of YaHuWaH. So 480 years had passed from the first Exodus. Maybe there's something prophetic over there. Now that I'm thinking again on this, we need to do some kind of calculation of how those numbers fit with other prophecies.
4,000, almost 5,000 years.
So the point, what is interesting to notice is that the construction of the house won't happen immediately after the Exodus. So salvation first, house next. Yahushua came to bring us the first step salvation. We are going to the second step salvation, as we have been talking for a while already here in this channel, these studies. And the building of the house is going to be spiritually first, but I do believe it's going to happen physically, and that's going to happen with Yahushua here on earth. So maybe the timing here is somehow connected to the process. We need to take a look in more details.
And I think that, I don't know if it's just in the chronological order is okay, because his first focus was the House of YaHuWaH. And then his own house.
You're right. That's beautiful. This is that denying ourselves.
Yeah. So first look for YaHuWaH, and he's going to help us with the rest.
And this is exactly what was the promise of YaHuWaH to David, because this is what you had in your heart. I'm going to build you a house.
Yeah.
So David wanted to build a house to YaHuWaH, and YaHuWaH promised to build David a house. And that's why we have this covenant between YaHuWaH and David to have from his lineage the kings. That he began to build the house of YaHuWaH. And the house which sovereign Shlomo built for YaHuWaH was 60 cubits long and 20 wide and 30 cubits high. I don't have a map here, but it would be interesting to put together the plans and so on. Thank you, Arthur and Cornelia, for the book. I need to go into the details of the book and how this is connected to what we are reading here. But I think for those with engineering mindset, just take a look and take the moment and start drawing these things with the instruction. This is like a manual.
Yeah, and sometimes much better than doing by ourselves instead of looking for a picture that somebody else drew.
Yeah.
So
it is written, I don't remember, I think it's in Chronicles, that David put the plan together and gave it to Shlomo to build the house. So David got those plans somehow by inspiration of the Ruach, most probably. And I always remember Noah.
Yeah, when he was doing the ark.
He received exactly the same. It's how to build something. And there is something really interesting in the story of Noah connected to the house, by the way. So YaHuWaH is giving always the instruction, the plans, the drawings, almost to Moshe. It was exactly the same. Build everything as I have shown you in the mountain. So I always imagine Moshe maybe with a piece of paper, just looking and just drawing, putting the numbers and so on, just to put the plan together.
And I imagine how Karen was doing, because remember she was doing all the drawings and all the house of the parents. So I think all the work that you have to put there and thinking about, okay, this is going to be for this is going to be that, and the heights and everything. So yeah, beautiful.
So let's continue. And the porch at the front of the hall of the house was 20 cubits long according to the breadth of the house, and its width 10 cubits from the front of the house. And he made for the house windows with narrow frames. And against the wall of the house he built rooms all around, against the walls of the house, all around the Hechal and the speaking place. Thus he made the side rooms all around. So, in my understanding, the house is in the, what he called house is the entire building, including the rooms and so on. What is called the Hechal is the set apart place. What is the menorah, the slaughter place. And the speaking place, yes, the speaking place is the most set apart place. What is the Ark of the Covenant. That's the way, you know, but you're reading this passage is the way that I understand the different wording and the meaning of the different word. So house is the entire building with the courtyards, with the rooms in the walls and so on. Again, the Hechal and the speaking place is the temple, what we call temple. The Hechal is the set apart place, and the speaking place is the most set apart place. So let's continue. And he made for the house windows with narrow frames, and against the wall of the house he built rooms all around again. And I already read this one. The lowest side room was 5 cubits wide, and the middle one was 6 cubits wide, and the third one was 7 cubits wide. For he made narrow ledges around the outside of the house, so as not to lay hold on the walls of the house. And the house, when it was being built, was built with finished stone, made ready beforehand, so that no hammer or chisel or any iron tool was heard in the house while it was being built. And
that
this is
very
beautiful.
Interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't like the noise. I don't know, but they were prepared outside. It's like we are being maybe prepared outside of the kingdom. So all the noise, all the trouble, or the problems are being here. And when we are going to be taken to the kingdom of YaHuWaH,
we're being hammered now. We're being chiseled now.
Yeah.
We're being...
So all the screaming is going to be end at one moment, and we are going to be taken there ready for the purpose.
Absolutely. So, I think this is what it means. When I saw it, it's exactly the same that I felt. Now is the moment. We're in the verse 7. Okay. Let me put some passage here together.
He enjoyed also the quietness, that being silent. Not all.
But that's a good comment, and actually it's connected to what Karen remembered of the study we did back then. The speaking place being in the most apart place, in the innermost, and
it's
it
not
needs
too
to be
crowded.
quiet.
It's quiet, and it's
in order
only,
to listen.
And it's only between the Kohen Hagadol and him. So
keep in mind what we were reading, and in the book of First Peter, chapter 17, it says, chapter 4, verse 17, because it is time for judgment to begin from the house of Elohim, and if firstly from us, what is in the end of those who do not obey the good news of Elohim. He was in the same letter saying that we are a stone of the dwelling place. So the stone needs to be hammered, needs to be chiseled, needs to be prepared, worked out before building the house. So that's why I don't believe when people say that we are not going to go through tribulation. Because it's through tribulations and trials, individually and collectively, is when we are being prepared.
Maybe people confuse that with the wrath of Elohim, because the wrath of Elohim, it meaning when all the fire that is destructing the evil things is going to be poured out over the earth. And some people think that is the tribulation, and it's not the same. So I think that maybe is the difference.
Yes, and the other thing is exactly what you said is, Yahuwah wants to, likes to quietness. Is in quietness is when we are going to be able to find him. When we're in nature, we know not all the noise of the city around us. Is when it's much easier for us to connect with him.
Yeah.
When we're going to pray in the first hours in the morning, when everybody is sleeping, is when we have a better chance to connect with him. Because, everything is calm, everything is quiet. When we're in noisy places, it happened to us. You remember last 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
We went to a place to eat something.
Yeah, and
it was so noisy
that we couldn't be there.
Yeah, we wanted to just to
leave.
To get out of there.
Yeah. And it's interesting because there is a moment before in the morning and also in the sunset, when all the birds are singing and they're like, I don't know, like praising, I think. And then it comes all the calm, and it's like a moment of real quietness.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful.
So I think that part is so relevant. Now is the time that we are being hammered, chisel. We are being prepared for as a stone for the temple.
Yeah.
It says the doorway for the middle side room was on the right side of the house, and they went up by stairs to the middle side rooms, and from the middle to the third. So he built the house and completed it, and he paneled the house with beams and boards of cedar. And he built the side rooms of the structure against all the house, each 5 cubits high, and they were fastened to the house with cedar beams. So I think this is the moment to bring the other passages. So there's a lot of instruction for construction here, but let's take a look on what else we find here. So just give me a second, because I didn't have the chance to prepare the passages. I have it in my mind, but let's look for it. So our Mashiach, Yahushua, said the following: let not your heart be troubled. And I think it is a message for us today. Let not your heart be troubled. Let not our hearts be troubled. Believe in Elohim. Believe also in me. Wow. We should not be in trouble. We need to believe all the time in Elohim. We need to believe all the time in Mashiach, Yahushua, the appointed king. In my Father's house are many staying places. There are many rooms. And if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you may be too. He then promised us to go to the place he went. He promised us that he went to that place to prepare places
for us.
And come for us,
and
he's bringing that place here.
Yeah.
So when we connect with what we're reading in First Kings, we see that Shlomo the king, that is a foreshadow of Mashiach, was preparing the house of Yahuwah, and he prepared different rooms. Just imagine the Kohanim, the priests, they were staying according to what is written in the Dead Sea Scrolls, connected to what is written in the book of Chronicles. They were staying 1 week in Jerusalem, and they needed to sleep in one place where they were sleeping in the rooms that were prepared. They were living there. They were staying in those rooms. So this is exactly what, we as kings and priests, don't ask me how it's going to happen, because it's with so many people. I do believe, exactly as I have been telling you, that there's going to be different rewards. People living in Jerusalem, other people people living in the temple, other people living in the city of Jerusalem, other people living in the different places of the assigned to each tribes, and other people living in other places outside the land of Israel. It's in different patterns. We don't know. We will know at the moment of the ceremony of a rewarding ceremony, when he's going to say, Lillian, this is your reward. This is the way you are going to live.
Oh, you have a shovel.
Yeah. Sorry?
You have a shovel.
JC, Juan Carlos, this is your reward. And we need to be content, and for sure we are going to be glad. It doesn't matter what we are going to receive. We are going to receive a gift.
Yeah.
If it happened for us that we are going to live in the Jerusalem area, woo, it's something to celebrate. It's one of the biggest rewards. It happens to us that we are not going to live there. We are going to live in another place.
But we're going to clean there. Yeah.
Close to the Sea of Galilee. Believe me, I'm not going to be mad. Because the place is beautiful. I'm going to be content because I'm receiving a gift that I don't even deserve. I don't even deserve. I'm receiving a gift after a second gift, after a first gift I got. The gift of restoration by the blood shed by Yahushua in the stake. Without being, without deserving salvation. The first thing he gave me is the life of his son to give me the opportunity to be part of his kingdom. So how come I'm not going to be content by the second gift that I'm going to receive freely? And the only thing that he's asking me is the same thing that he asked Shlomo. I think we already read in the previous one, is to continue in his ways, in his covenant, in order to receive that reward. So, again, I'm deviating from the topic, but Yahushua promised he was going to prepare a place in the same way that Shlomo was preparing the places over here. So, another passages that are really interesting, connected exactly to the same. Let's go here. And I think, just give me a second. This one. These are really beautiful promises. Let's go to Revelation, chapter 3, verse 11. And remember everything that we just reading about the construction of the temple, the beams, the walls, and so on. It says in Revelation 3, verse 11, see, I am coming speedily, and for sure he's coming really fast. There's no way that we cannot see it. He is coming fast. Hold what you have, that no one take your crown. And this message is so relevant, exactly in the same way that the passage in John 14, verse 1 we were reading. Let's not be troubled. Believe in Elohim, believe in Yahushua. He's coming fast, so hold on. Hold on what you have. Take your crown and put it in your head, so nobody is going to take it. So put it like that. And do it until the end. This is what Yahushua is telling us, what we have to do, what should be our attitude, what we have to do in order to overcome until the end. And what he said, he who overcomes, those who endure until the end, I shall make him a supporting post in the dwelling place of my Elohim. It's totally connected to what Peter Kefa was saying, that we are a stone. If we endure, we are going to be part of the house. We are going to be a supporting post. And he shall by no means go out. And I shall write on him the name of my Elohim and the name of the city of my Elohim, the renewed Jerusalem, which comes down out of the heaven from my Elohim and my renewed name. You know, sometimes if we wonder how, for people that are coming new to the understanding of the word of Yahuwah and the promises of the kingdom, the message of the kingdom, the good news of the kingdom, if we want to simplify the message, how I can be part of it, I think the words of Mashiach is the much simpler way to put it. In order to be part of the kingdom, the first thing we need to do is to believe in Elohim and to believe in Yahushua. That's, you know, the scripture 101, or the basic of basics. Those are the two things we need to do, is to believe in Elohim and believe in Yahushua. Now, if we want to go in details, we need to understand what it means to believe in Elohim, what it means to believe in Yahushua. But if we want, is just try to do something similar to what Yahushua did with the commandments. He mentioned 2 commandments.
Because
love Yahuwah and love your neighbor.
They were summarizing the rest.
Exactly. So, trying to do the same. If we want to summarize how we can be part of what's coming on the world, of the new world that is coming, everything that we are reading and studying today about the house of Elohim and the coming world, we want to summarize it, it's in 2. Believe in Elohim, believe in the Son, in Yahushua. Okay? And if we do that, practicing what it means to believe, and we overcome by believing, we are going to be part of the dwelling place.
Because they're saying that you do this and you're going to get that. So that is believing. If we do the things that they ask, we are going to receive what they say that they are going to give us. That is believing. Not just believe with the mind. It's doing. It's acting. It's walking.
Absolutely. So let's move on. Let's go back. And you were telling me you didn't prepare anything for today. Come on. So let's continue. Verse 11. And you know, she was, I'm having this so huge headache. I haven't read the portion.
Yeah, but you see my notes.
I don't know what I'm going to share.
That is my notes today. I only have the title.
You know, that's the beauty of just relying on him.
Yeah, because he helps us.
So let's continue. And the word of YaHuWaH came to Shlomo saying, this house which you are building, this is the if, this is the big if. If you walk in my laws and do my right rulings, and shall guard all my commands and walk in them, then I shall confirm my word with you which I spoke to your father David, and shall dwell in the midst of the children of Israel, and not forsake my people Israel. And this big if, again, let me connect to what I said before. We have 3 houses, not 2 now. We have 3 houses. This house, the collective house, and the physical house. So, do you think he's going to apply a different set of rules for the different type of houses? I don't think so. In order for him to dwell in the midst of the children of Israel and not forsake the people, his people Israel, and to dwell in the physical house, the condition is the if. In order for him to dwell in the spiritual collective house and not to forget his people Israel, the condition is that this spiritual collective house needs to follow the if. For him to dwell in the smaller house, the individual house, and not to forget us as his children, and remember, believe in Elohim, we need to walk in the if. If we follow the if and we comply with the if, he's going to dwell here, and he's not going to forget us and forsake us. So what it means that if I walk individually, he's going to dwell with me. If you walk in the same way, and all of you walk in the same way, collectively, he's going to be dwelling among us. Where are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, and I am in the midst of them. That's the way to understand what we're saying. I'm walking in the if. You are walking in the if. All of you are walking in the if. He's going to dwell among us. And I do believe this is exactly what we have been trying to do in all these years. Sometimes we struggle again. Let's remember what it means to build a house. But that doesn't mean that we are not trying. What it means if we decide to stop because we are frustrated and we don't continue building the house,
it's going to become a ruin.
And we are doing our own desire. We are not enduring. We are not pushing forward. It's our attitude, our decisions to continue moving on despite the difficulties or the hiccups.
Have you seen those houses that were just in the middle of the construction and they were left because maybe they didn't have enough resources or work or anything? Usually at the end, they turn into places with a lot of garbage, with people that they don't have a place to live and they decided to take that place. So at the end, is something like that could happen if we don't continue, if we don't finish the house that he wants us to have for us. And those people that are like living like vagabonds, maybe we could say that they are the evil spirits, that they want to go inside out this house. So
everything you have described, this evil spirit is garbage. At the end, it becomes a garbage because we have not completed the house. Because we have abandoned the building.
And we if we are going to prepare a house and we are not going to live in there, what is the purpose of everything? It's the same. We cannot build something and then don't use it. So we need to be there.
We need to. That's why Yahushua is insisting we need to endure until the end. We need to overcome the difficulties. We need to continue building the house. If I build the house, again, I'm going to repeat myself. If I build the house and I endure until the end, and you do exactly the same, and all of you do exactly the same, at the end, we are collectively building the house by our individual efforts. And that means to be a had. That means that he's dwelling with me, he's dwelling among us, and we are going to do something important. We are going to make a difference in terms of the preparation of the way for the return of Mashiach. I do believe that his presence is dwelling with us.
And that is his intention.
And that's his intention, exactly. And he's preparing us for the next phase of what's coming soon. You know, we see all this darkness growing. As I told you, you know, in the broadcast that I did about the prophecy update, I told you that in that study, that this is the perfect, what's going on today is the perfect scenario for persecution to begin. I told you that I do believe that the next step of what's going on could be the beginning of the Great Tribulation with the previous war, World War III. And you know, all the hatred that is coming is basically setting the ground for persecution for everything that is connected to Jewish. And I show you some news back then, and this is increasing by the day. Yesterday, I think we were taking a look in some another news with I don't know, an alert that came from the government of Israel telling people to avoid flying and to avoid displaying
something that was showing that
they're Jewish.
Yeah.
This is exactly what's happening. This is exactly what is going to be increasing over the time. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to follow men advices, or are we going to follow the if? If we follow men advices, maybe we're going to stop the construction of the house. If we follow the if and the plans of YaHuWaH, despite the difficulties around us, we will continue building this house in order to make sure we're getting to the final day of construction, in order to have the ceremony, the opening ceremony of the house. And this is what is our objective, to get to that ceremony of opening the house. So that's the big if. That's the meaning of believing in YaHuWaH. So Shlomo built the house and completed it. So he continued pushing, making sure that he was completing the house. And he built the walls of the house inside with cedar boards. From the floor of the house to the ceiling, he paneled them on the inside with wood, and covered the floor of the house with planks of cypress. And he built 20 cubits at the rear of the house, from floor to the walls, with cedar boards. And he built it inside as the speaking place, as the most set apart place. And the house was 40 cubits. It is the Hechal before it. And the cedar for the house inside was carved with ornaments and open flowers, and all was cedar, not a stone was seen. And he prepared the speaking place in the midst of the house. They placed the ark of the covenant of YaHuWaH there. And the front of the speaking place was 20 cubits long, and 20 cubits wide, and 20 cubits high. And he overlaid it with refined gold, and overlaid the slaughter place of cedar. So let me make some comment here. So they're using just natural materials, stones, wood, and then it's coming the gold. And he's in different layers. It's interesting, actually. It's the stone, the wood, and the gold. It's like building a house. You put all the structure first, then you start beautifying it, and then the last thing you put is the painting. And he's following exactly the same pattern. I'm just wondering how all these steps and layers are connected to this house. The fruits of the Ruach maybe are the gold, the layers, what is seen, what is visible. And what is visible could be the fruit of the Ruach, of the fruits of the flesh. But what is important is that we are starting from the inside out. I think I mentioned this at the beginning. It's from the inside out. Is the stone, then...
It mentioned that it was overlaid also from the outside with gold? Or it says only in the inside?
We have not get there yet.
No?
But actually, let's continue reading. But speaking place, why? What is said that they are calling it this place the speaking place? Because if you remember, the Ark of the Covenant is where YaHuWaH was going to speak
with the Kohen Hagadol.
With the Kohen Hagadol. And it is written when we go to the tabernacle, is the place where Moshe was going to speak with YaHuWaH, and YaHuWaH was going to speak with Moshe. And that's why when we were making the comments and in the study with the Ruach, is that in that place is connected to our ability to hear or listen and speak. That's why our words, or what we hear, is so important. What we let in through our ears, what we let out through our mouth, is so important. But it's because it's connected to the speaking place where we are communicating with the presence of YaHuWaH. And we have a bird.
What?
We have a bird.
Where?
¿No lo escuchaste?
Ah.
So let's continue. And the front of the speaking place was 20 cubits long and 20 cubits wide, and the 20 cubits high. And he overlaid it with refined gold, and overlaid the slaughter place of cedar. And Shlomo overlaid the inside of the house with refined gold.
Okay, inside.
The inside. And made gold chains pass over the front of the speaking place and overlaid it with gold. Can you imagine how shiny was the place with the menorah?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thus he overlaid the entire house with gold until the entire house was completed. And the entire slaughter place that was by the speaking place he overlaid with gold. And inside the speaking place he made 2 cherubim of olive wood, 10 cubits high. It was big things. And one wing of the cherub was 5 cubits, and the other wing of the cherub 5 cubits, 10 cubits from the tip of one wing to the tip of the other. And the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both cherubim were of the same size and shape. The height of one cherub was 10 cubits, and so was the other cherub. And he placed the cherubim in the midst of the inner house, and they stretched out the wings of the cherubim, so that the wing of the one touched one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall, and their wing touched each other in the middle of the room. And he overlaid the cherubim with gold. You know, when I was reading this, I remember the prophecy of Ezekiel, the visions of Ezekiel, when he was the 2 circles, and with the presence of Yahuwah, with the cherubs with 4 faces. It's like a kind of similar, not the same, but kind of similar fashion and pattern. With the cherubs, you have the cherubs in the Ark of the Covenant, and these 2 big one in the speaking place in the room. So, just wondering, I don't have more details of what to think on this, but it's interesting. It's like, you know, these big cherubs with the wings spread out. It's like
covering all the place.
Shadow, and this is so relevant when we talk about a house, because it's protection. And he carved all the walls of the house all around, both inside and outside, with carved figures of cherubim and palm trees and open flowers. And he overlaid the floor of the house with gold. Even the floor was with gold.
Yeah.
And this is so relevant when we talk about the New Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Because it connected to something very similar.
It says inside and outside.
And for the entrance of the speaking place, he made doors of olive wood, the lintel, doorpost, and fifth. And he was using olive wood and also cedar. In this case, you know, for the entrance, it was like... This was the veil. Is the door is separating the hechal with the speaking place. And the 2 doors were of olive wood, and he carved on them figures of cherubim and palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold. And he spread the gold of the cherubim and on the palm trees. And so he made doorposts of the door of the hechal of olive wood, of 4 part, and the 2 doors were of cypress wood. The 2 leaves of the one folded, and the 2 leaves of the other door folded. So it's describing
I think that is something like that. Like
yes, it's 2 leaves of 2 doors, and the 2 leaves, 2 places of the door, and they were folding. But he's talking about describing 2 doors. One door is separating the speaking place to the hechal, and the other door is the more external one, the outer door, from cypress wood, separating from the courtyard. You remember the study we did with the different doors?
Different
It's
doors.
exactly the same. They had curtains. Here is describing doors with of wood. What I am? Here. And he carved cherubim and palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold laid smoothly on the carved work. And he built the inner courtyard with three rows of hewn stone and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year, the foundation of the house of YaHuWaH was laid in the month of Siv. And in the 11th year, in the month of Bul, the 8th month, the house was completed in all its matters and according to all its plans. Thus he built it for 7 years. And this is so relevant, prophetically speaking, because, you know, the construction began in the 2nd month.
it's like when you have the second Pesach.
It's the 2nd Pesach, exactly. It's like, you know, after
And
when we're thinking in the first Exodus.
and it says in the 8th month it was ending. And you know where we are right now? We are in the 8th month.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. If we think prophetically, the first Exodus, they crossed the Red Sea. That was during Reshit Katzir, the first of the harvest. Was at the 26th of the month. And then they went to the wilderness to start building the house with the commandments, Sinai, that was the second month. Actually, Sinai happened in the third month, but after they crossed the Jordan, they were totally out of Mizraim because they crossed the not the Jordan, the Red Sea. And it's like building the house happened after that. Think prophetically. What's going to happen? I do believe the second Exodus will happen in a similar time frame. And he completed the house after Sukkot. So, and in a 7-year period of time, could it be related to what's going to happen at the end times? That maybe everything will happen on the second month and everything will be completed in the 8th month. In a 7-year period of time. You know, the rocks, the sea, the wood was sawn, was cut, the same with the stones and so on. They needed to apply a lot of strength in order to carry them and bear all this material from one place to the other. Compulsory labor wasn't an easy task. So maybe that's a kind of pattern that during this period of time we'll go through that difficulties of building the house, but at the end we'll have the house built and we'll have the presence of YaHuWaH dwelling among us. So I don't know, that's the last part.
Here it didn't say it about the precious stone in this version. You were reading.
I was reading this one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, you're right.
Because then we made the connection with the New Jerusalem that it says with also being built with precious stone in the base.
I'm just looking for the passage. Just give us a second. Here one.
Okay.
In the chapter 5.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the sovereign commanded, and they brought large stones, precious one, stones, to lay the foundation of the house with hewn stones. And this exactly, you know, they began the building, the construction of the temple with this one, the foundation, and they did it with precious stones.
We mentioned that?
No, we didn't mention that. And this is so connected to what is written in about New Jerusalem in the Revelation chapter 21. It says, and the foundations of the wall of the city were adorned with all kind of precious stones. So it's a similar thing. Shlomo even built something similar to what we see what's going to happen with the New Jerusalem in terms of the stones they were using. So I think, you know, just to wrap up, the house, maybe this wasn't a coincidence that I was thinking to prepare a study for that, that Karen was thinking, having in her heart about the same thing about the house. And
we were talking about the importance of a man. Well,
last week,
remember?
Or the previous one, that maybe we need to build houses.
We need to build houses. Is that you have to be involved in the construction of your own house. You cannot leave that to somebody else.
Yeah, we said this in the first portion of this book because, you know, even though that he received the inheritance of the house of David,
you're right.
He built his own house.
Yeah. So that it has to be our thinking, that we have to be involved in choosing the material and drawing the lines and being there, and he has supervisors. Maybe he was not in every detail, but he had to put people that has the same standard that he has, and we have to do the same. We have to be careful, because if we are not doing that, we can have a very bad result. So
yeah. So let me ask an open question, and I would like to see your comments in the chat. Do you think we are going to have a temple in the millennial? Do you think during the 1,000 years kingdom of Yahushua here on earth, we will have a temple, physical temple? What do you think? Just share with us your comment in the chat. We are taking a look in the chat. So share with us your comment.
And you know what?
Yes, indeed. Yes. Okay. Is ready to come down? Ezekiel temple. Okay, I think we will. Okay, you wanted to say something?
No, yeah, but I was thinking that even though when you have a house that it already finished, always you need to have maintenance.
And that's why he needs a servant.
Yeah.
Even if I need
Always
to clean the temple, I'm gonna be happy doing it.
And always there is going to appear something that you need to care about. So even though when the house was just finished.
So what do you think?
Well,
we will have a temple?
When I was reading about this, I was making the comparison that I was thinking, well, maybe the 1,000 years were the previous time, and then he realized, okay, now we're going to put our hands here and we're going to build. So I don't know, maybe I think that another temple is going to be built there with maybe different kind of materials.
I do believe as of now that there will be a temple in the millennial kingdom. I think Yahushua will be the one in charge of building this temple. And that's why, when you were saying that he's going to be the architect, the supervisor,
all the roles here.
And similar to what we see, this foreshadow of Shlomo. I cannot tell you certainly that this is going to happen. I'm just sharing with you what I believe is going to happen during the 1,000 years kingdom of Yahushua. And just let me share you one passage why I believe it's going to happen like that, and why Yahushua is going to be leading this process. So if we go to the book of Zechariah, chapter 6, and this is a prophecy of Yahushua. Actually, this is a way to confirm the name of the Messiah as well. It says, let's read from the 11. And you shall take the silver and gold and make a crown and set it on the head of Yahushua, the son of Yahusadak. And this is also a reference to Zadok, the high priest. And shall speak to him, saying, Thus said Yahweh Sabaoth, saying, See the man whose name is the branch. And we know this is a reference to Mashiach. And from his place he shall branch out, and he shall build the Hechal of YaHuWaH. So let's continue in the 13. It is he who is going to build the Hechal of YaHuWaH. It is he who is going to bear the splendor. And he shall sit and rule on his throne, and shall be a priest on his throne. And the counsel of peace shall be between them both. And I touched base on this passage when I was doing the study of the last days. Was the last days? Yeah, I think so. Because it's talking about the Kohen under by the order of Melchizedek is king and priest. He shall sit and rule. This is the role of a king, and shall be a priest on his throne. So king and priest, and that's why the council of peace should be between them both. What is the between them both is the two roles, is the king and priest. So it's saying that he's going to build a Hechal. Now we can think that he's building the spiritual Hechal.
Yeah.
That
During
is
all
absolutely
this time.
true.
Yeah,
All this
that,
time.
that is,
And it's
yep.
true. And we're just touching base on this and in this portion, this study. But could it be that he's going to build a house, a physical one? And maybe this is exactly, as I was reading the comments, maybe this is exactly the temple in the book of Ezekiel. It's going to be the chief architect is going to be Yahushua, and we are going to be the builders. Can you imagine that we are going to... let's put for a moment that this belief of myself and some of you is true, and it's going to be one of the first things that Yahushua is going to begin is the construction of the temple. That we are going to be able to participate on the construction.
Wow.
Can you imagine yourself being able to be part of it, of the construction of the true temple in the true location with the true plans? That would be fantastic. Beside everything else we have to do, beside everything of following Mashiach to bring restoration of all things and to fill the air with righteousness. Sometimes we tend to spiritualize too much things. When it is written in the word that the righteousness will fill the earth, what do you think it means?
The way that we are going to live is going to be in a righteous way.
We are trying to live in a righteous way, and you are absolutely right, but it says that the air will be filled with righteousness of Yahuwah. How is it going to happen? There will be more people living in the world. How those people are going to live in righteousness? Because somebody else will go, and that somebody else is going to be you, me, you, going in order to lead the nations in the righteousness and live in the righteousness of the word, with the beacon of Mashiach being there. The banner, the big banner that everybody is going to see. So we are going to, in this scenario that I'm proposing, to be able to be part of the physical construction of a temple and to be part of the physical establishment of the kingdom of Yahuwah and to guide people in the righteousness of that kingdom. We will have a lot of things to do, and that's why, building a house is so relevant. Enduring until the end is so relevant. Not to leave unfinished work, to complete the work in the same way that Shlomo was completing the house in 7 years. Because if we don't have that attitude, how we are going to be able to be faithful servants? He's giving us a task, and he's expecting that we are going to be autonomous, and we are going to be able to complete the task. And then we complete the task, be ready for the next appointment. This is the time for us to learn that attitude, is to take the task that he's assigning to us in these times and to complete the task, endure it until the end. It doesn't matter the difficulties. And as soon as we complete it, we're going to receive the reward, and we're going to receive a new assignment. So it's time to learn in order to do it, to continue doing later. Sorry.
I was thinking that it's so important how we do that task, because if we do it just because it's only a task and okay, we need to complete this like a checkpoint, it's not going to be like the good thing. I think that he wants us to enjoy working in there.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to enjoy it. I just picture myself, going to the nations and to it's similar, but this is the reality, going to the nations and be a light to the nations, a real light to the nations, a practical light to the nations.
I was thinking, that's why I was asking you about the covering of the gold from the things, and it says that the path, the way, is being covered by gold, the road. Yeah, remember that the entrance. outside and inside.
Yeah.
So it's going to be something that everybody's going to be able to see, because imagine how you're not going to see a road that is, I don't know, is receiving the reflection of the sun, the light, and it's shining. Yeah. So it's going to be like everybody's going to see.
We are going to be able to live the same experiences that the disciples experienced. You know, going to the world. You know, we are trying to do it now, but maybe the full completion is going of that commandment of Mashiach is going to happen exactly on that moment. We will go through the nations. And again, maybe as I said at the very beginning of this study, this broadcast, is that we can have the desire, but maybe his desire is different. So we need to be open. We need to be open for his plans for us in this time, in this phase of history, and also in the coming world that is coming through the hand of Yahushua.
Yeah.
So I think we're good. We took more time without preparation, but I think it was good. Yeah. I feel good. But they can listen to us. You know, it was the sign that we need to finish.
Yeah, not like the last week.
Not like the last week, you know, with technical problems.
Sorry about that. That I was
Lilian laughing, enjoying, and they cannot see it again. So let me try to put the camera again, but you can listen to us, right? I know that you can listen to us. So let me see. Now you can see it. Yeah, now you can see it. Yeah. But I think it's the time to finish.
Time to go. Yeah.
So thank you so much for your patience, for being with us.
Yeah, enjoy this day. This Shabbat is when Abba is close to us. Is when he is willing to teach us everything that we need to learn and rest in him, with him. That's the beautiful thing.
Yeah, I just saw your comment. Yeah, listen. You know, I just picture myself sitting with you on the table. It was a beautiful moment, you know, enjoying this time. You know, we are waiting for the time that all of us were going to be able to enjoy, to partake time face to face. Yeah. It's going to be such a feast. You know, I think we're going to be crying because of joy. Emotion, yeah. I think it's going to be really, really beautiful. So let's keep it until here. Thank you so much. I really hope that you enjoy this study. We will continue next week with the next chapter. Don't forget, if you want to know what's the next portion, go to the site Light to the Nations. Go to the weekly parasha. I'm going to show you again, and you will see what are the coming studies. Yeah. So thank you so much. It's a wonderful time with you.
We continue praying.
We continue praying for Yudi, Mark.
Yeah.
Yes. Please continue praying for Yudi.
For one another. That's the way we are building also this temple. It's like using kind of cement between each other.
It's the glue.
The glue.
Yeah. Glue like this, you know. We are the stone with the stone or something like that. So thank you so much. We're going to finish with a song. This is supposed to be the song that I was going to play last week, but I made a mistake and so on. But we are going to listen to it now. So thank you so much. Yahuwah be with you all. See you next week.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Bye.
אבינו שבשמיים לא נפסיק להלל מול ישוע נרים ידיים לא נפסיק לפעל מול הקושי שיש בינתיים לא שווה לוותר מול הפחד נחזיק עדיין בהלל נילחם נשבח את השם מעל כל שם ונגביר את ההלל מול החושך נילחם שאין בו טעם מול אויב השם מעל כל שם, ונגביר את ההלל מול החושך הגובר. נשבח את השם, את השם מעל כל שם, ונגביר את ההלל מול החושך נילחם. אדוני נתן ואדוני לקח, יהי שמו מבורך, בין אם כך ובין אם